Hello and welcome to Algebra. So this is basically a video on algebra, like fundamentals of algebra. So let's get a number line. Oops. Okay, so let's call this number 0, let's call this 1, let's call this 2, this will be 3, this will be 4. This can be negative 1, this negative 2, this negative 3, and this one negative 4. So basically, what this number line represents are all integer values of the real world. This is a basic idea of algebra. You need to know this to understand algebra. What algebra basically is a way of finding a missing number. In most cases, that missing number will be represented as x. So a common problem, like one of the problems you might see in a basic algebra class would be x minus 2 is equal to, let's say, 4. So, but as I said, algebra is all about finding a missing number. So, how do you find the missing number x? Well, whenever you want to find the value of x, you have to make sure that the equation you're given is in the form of x equals. So how do we get this to be all alone on this one side? Well, we'd have to get rid of this negative 2 right here. So how do you get rid of it? You would have to add 2, because negative 2 plus 2 is equal to 0. But wait, can you only add 2 to this side? You can't. You have to also add it to this side. Otherwise, the equation will not be balanced. So if you add 2 here, now let's combine the terms. Negative 2 plus 2 is equal to 0. 4 plus 2 is equal to what? Well, let's find 4. Here's 4. And we add 2 to it. 1, 2. Whoops, let me add some numbers. 5 and 6. So if you add 1 to 4 is 5. 1 more to 5 is 6. So that's 2. So 4 plus 2 is equal to 6. And then you're left with just x right here. So x is equal to 6. That's your solution. Now, how do you confirm this is the solution? Well, you'd plug x back into the original equation. So wherever you see the value x, you would put the value 6. So let's put in parentheses 6 minus 2 is equal to 4. It's equal to 4. So let's figure this out. Is this true? Well, let's find 6. 6 is right here, and we want to subtract 2. So let's take away 2. So 1, 2, and you're left with 4. So this is true. 6 minus 2 is equal to 4, and 4 is equal to 4. So it works. Now, understanding this is key for algebra. Understanding how to find the x. You can only find x, like I said, by isolating the x on one side of the equation. And there cannot be any other x's on the other side. So let's say I gave you this equation. Let's say I gave you x plus 1 is equal to, I don't know, let's say it's equal to 3. Okay? So how do you do this? Let's think. like I said here, we have to find what x is equal to, and we do that by isolating the x on one side. So how do you isolate the x for this equation? Let's think. Well, right here, when you were given x minus 2, you added a value to it, so that way this canceled out. So this and this canceled out. And then you were left with just x. So, if you do the same operations, you should be able to get x by itself. Let's see. It's plus 1. So how do we get plus 1 back to 0? We subtract 1, right? Think so? Yes, you subtract 1. And like I said here, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other, or else the equation will not be balanced. So subtract 1, and you're left with, well, these two cancel, so x, which is equal to, what's 3 minus 1? Well, where's 3? Here's 3. And whenever you're given minus, you move to the left of the number line. So 3, take away 1, you get 2, because this is one step. So 3 minus 1 is equal to 2. Now, this is our answer, because we have x is equal to a number. So let's plug this back in to make sure it's true. So x is equal to 2, so everywhere you see an x, you plug in 2. So in parentheses we write 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. Now let's see if this is true. Let's find the 2. Where is 2? Well, here is 2. Right here. And we're supposed to add 1 to 2. So let's move to the right 1, because whenever you see add, you move to the right on the number line. So let's add 1. So you're left with x is equal to, well, 2 plus 1 is equal to 3, which is true, because 3 is equal to 3. See how simple that was? Algebra is truly not a difficult concept to understand. Algebra is really just understanding mathematical functions, like the functions 1 plus 2, 1 minus 2, 1 times 2, which can also be written as 1 dot 2. It all means the same thing. X, multiplying can be written with an X or a dot. Most commonly you'll find with a dot, but in lower education you'll find it on X. But both ways work, of course. And then there's another one, 1 divided by 2. Simple. I wonder who that is. Turns out it's from the school. They're saying you don't have to write it as 1 divided by 2. They're saying that you can also write it as, what'd you say, principal? 1 over 2. Is that so? Well, I guess if the principal can say it, it's true. So 1 divided by 2 is also written as 1 over 2. In a fraction is what they call it. A fraction. So that's pretty much it. These are basic mathematical functions. And then as you get more advanced, you will get to the point where it's like 1 to the power of 2, the square root of 2, square root of 1, and so on. It just keeps on going. There is no limit to your mathematical functions. So, yes, this is about it. These are all your functions. And also remember this. The opposite of addition let me actually write this out for you. So let me get something right here. The opposite of addition is subtraction. Okay? The opposite of multiplication, the opposite of multiplication is division. Let me move this over here. And this we'll move on to later. This portion will be later. And that's it.